Hello, everybody. So this is my great honor to speak in this prestigious conference. And today I'm coming with this small, cute robot. And actually, this robot is, is my commercial product. And I want to convince you that how we can change this world again with robot technologies. I think, we need to wait the robot. Just a moment. So probably should be okay. All right. Anyway, so let's get started my talk. My title is Robots and Androids and Our Future Life. So I'm going to talk about what's happened within 10 years, and after 10 years, and after 20 years. Probably my topics covers the after 30 years. So, why I'm here? One of the reasons, the most important reason is I'm a creator of this Android, very human-like robot. And with this, the Android, I think I could have a good reputation in the world. So this is a very, very important, the robot for me. And originally, this robot is a teleoperated Android. So, of course, my final goal is to make this Android the autonomous. But in order to do that, I need to gather a lot of conversational patterns and data. Right, therefore, I have developed the teleoperated Android. But teleoperation is also very convenient, right? And this is, by using the teleoperated system, I can transfer my presence to the distant place. So if I want, I could send my Android to this conference, and Android could have, could give a talk. So, I'm coming here, right? And how we can do that, right? So this Android is fourth generation. I have created my first Android in 2007, and then we have improved the Android functions. And this fourth generation is good for traveling. We can decompose into the three pieces: upper torso and lower torso and head. And then, we can bring the robot by airplane easily. And actually, my young staff is bringing this robot to the foreign country in a conference and assembling the robot in a conference site. And Android is giving a talk. So this works very well. And actually, organizers are very happy with this robot, Android, because there are two reasons. First reason is, the Android is very cheap. I mean, suppose I needed to be in Europe, and always I'm asking the business class. So business class is not so cheap, right? But for the Android, my young staff, they can carry with economy class, right? The cost is half, okay? And another merit is, if the Android give a talk, so after the talk, so we can have exhibitions, we can have demonstrations of Android, right? So you can see, you can touch to the Android, you can see what's happened inside of the Android, right? So you are very, very interested in the Android. So value is more than double, right? If the Android give a talk. So that, then we can touch to the very difficult, very interesting, but difficult, the philosophical question. What is identities? Do I have my identities? You are interested in Android, therefore you have invited me, right? Right. So if I didn't, create this Android, I couldn't have invitations to this conference. So actually, Android has my identities. I don't have my identities, right? You are not interested in my bodies, right? You are not interested in what happens in my body. You don't like to touch to my bodies, but you like touch to the Android bodies. Then you are quite interested in the Android mechanism, right? So what I want to say is, once we create a very human-like robot, we can touch to this very philosophical but important question as a humans. So this is a merit. This is important things for this of my studies. So anyways, you guys are quite interested in what the inside of these baggages. Okay, so actually this is the inside of baggages and upper torso and lower torso. So these are no problem, but the problem is head, right? So head is very fragile. We need to carry the head on the airplane. Okay, but the question is how we can pass the security gate with a human head, right? But the good thing is, this Android is very famous in the world, and the people working in the security gate, they know our Android, my Android, very much, and actually we don't have any problems. Okay. So that is what I'm doing in my laboratories. What I'm doing is robotics for understanding humans. I'm not just an engineering person, but I'm at the same time I'm a scientist for the humans. So develop the human-like robot based on the knowledge in the cognitive science and neuroscience, and verify the hypothesis in the cognitive science or the neuroscience by using the robots. That is what I'm doing in my laboratories. So, we need to tightly couple the engineering and the human science. This is, we can apply these ideas to any kind of the development of a commercial product, right? So, for example, the mobile industries, right? So many years ago, we just focused on how to develop the powerful engines, but recently, the companies are focusing on the interface for between automobile, the system and the drivers, right? So, and in order to have a much better interface for the drivers, so we need to deeply understand the human natures. Okay, so in order to have a much better commercial product, so we need to study about the humans. That is, the current movement in engineering. So anyway, I'm doing the same things with very advanced robot, and so I believe one of the most important contributions, my contributions in academics, is that I have established new research areas in robotics called interactions. Before our studies, in robotics, we have just two topics. One is navigation, the other is the manipulations. Navigation is to develop the automated car, right, like a Tesla, right? And manipulation is for the industrial robot, right? So we need to use the manipulators in factories, right? So the manipulation is to study how to control the manipulators. In addition to the navigation and the manipulation, I have established the new research areas called interactions in cooperation with other researchers from United States and European countries. Okay. So the important features of the new research area in robotics, it's called interaction, is that that we are tightly coupling the robotics and cognitive science and neuroscience. So based on this, that kind of studies, I believe we're going to have a robot society in the very near future soon. So this is my imaginations. Especially Japan, probably we want to use more robots. So for our robot, provide the various services for the people in a daily situation. Okay. So in order to realize that robot societies, I have developed many kind of robots so far. I started the human-like robot project, humanoid project, and Android project around the 2000, and spent more than the 17 years. And this is an overview of my product, the robots I have developed so far. So why? The question is why do we use humanoids, human-like robots? The reason is a human has a brain that recognizes humans. So therefore, the ideal interface for the humans are humans. This is a very, very strong and innate, the human brain functions. Therefore, if possible, that we wanna have a more human-like electric stuff and a human-like interface for the cars. Everything, should be more human-like, right? We don't like to read a manual, right? So, but in order to interact with other people, we don't need to read a manual. Okay, so it's easy, for having the conversation with the people, right? That is, because we have that kind of brain functions. So anyway, so near futures, so we're gonna accept more human-like robots or humanoids and androids. Within 10 years, what happens? I really think we're gonna accept this kind of small, communicative, interactive robots. And so this is it's a kind of promotion videos we had made 5 years ago. But actually, so we can have this this kind of a conversation with a robot. This is if we want, we can develop the conversation robot. So 5 years ago, I have proposed this robot, but after 2 days, so this became a real technologies. So we can consider the many applications. So one of the killer application is the language studies, I think. So especially for the Japanese. Japanese is Japanese student is very shy and they hesitate to talk with the other people and foreigners. But they can have a good exercise with the robot.
I'm hungry.
Right?
I'm hungry.
So we can consider the many the communicative applications with this the small robot. So let me give you a very simple demonstration with this one. Could you? Okay. I'm not sure. Voices are so small.
I am robot called Komyu. What's your name?
My name is Hiroshi.
I see. Let's get started. Is this the first time you're talking with a robot?
Yes.
Really? Are you nervous talking to a robot?
I'm not.
I love to talk.
So we can talk like this, right? So this is a very simple demonstrations, but we have a pretty good voice recognition technologies, but I'm not using a voice recognition technologies here. But if we want, we can use the very stable voice recognition technologies developed by Google and some other their companies. Okay, so let me show you the more realistic experiment. Actually, this is a very serious field test in the restaurant. So we are working with the biggest restaurant companies in Japan. They are seriously thinking to use a robot in a restaurant. Okay, so the robot is guiding people for ordering something and talking with these people. So what's happened this is a scene of a family restaurant. So what's happened in a family restaurant? Actually, family member come to the family restaurant for having a dinners, but nobody talks. Everybody using a smartphone. Okay, there's no conversations among the families. But if we have a robot, the robot can give us a chance to talk right? Then that we can have a more, friendly conversations with the robot and with other family members, right? So, we are crazy for using a smartphone and a personal computers in a virtual world, in a computer network world. But we are living in a physical world. I believe this kind of interactive, communicative robot can bridge the virtual world and the physical world. Okay. So this, once family restaurant decided to use the robot, the communicative robot, so robot spread out in Japan, at least in Japan, quickly, right? These companies established 300 branches of restaurants within 1 year, right? It's very, very powerful, okay? So that is why I said we may have a robot society soon, maybe within a couple of years. So we can consider the different applications. Another possible application is interlocutors. So after maybe 3 years, 4 years, so we're going to have a Tokyo Olympic Games, and we need to accept more foreigners. But Japanese is not so good for speaking in foreign languages, right? And how we can manage that kind of situations? Just use a robot, right? So the robot can speak in many the languages. So that is the solutions. And of course, the robot can be a good conversation partner for the elderlies. And robot can sell the clothes and many things. Okay? So let me give you another the example of Android the applications. Okay, this is really this is the current use of Android technologies. We're gonna use these small robots, but same time, we're gonna use the more human-like robots. So I'm using my robot for, for giving lectures in foreign countries or lectures in universities, right? So this is very, very convenient for me. And this Android is for the very famous persons in Japan. He is national treasures, and everybody knows in Japan. He's a rakugo player. Rakugo means comic storytelling. But unfortunately, he passed away. So therefore, we have created his Android, and the people they can enjoy his professional, elegant, the comic storytelling. And this is Soseki Natsume, very, very famous the writers writers in Japan. Everybody knows. Right, and everybody studied his literatures in elementary school and junior highs. Okay, but nobody has the experience to directly talk to him. Right, so this is a kind of imaginary great persons, but by gathering the knowledge about the researchers in the literatures, okay, we can reconstruct his personalities. With this Android. So this is another possibility, a practical use of Android technologies. Now that Android is giving lectures in elementary school, and the student carefully listening to his talk. So by using this Android, we can extend our presence. So that is a practical use. Then we can touch to the philosophical questions. What is the human presence? Okay, so for example, is the Android more popular than the original? Yes, actually, this Android is more popular than the original persons because the original persons, actually he passed away, and he and we cannot. Enjoyed his professional praise, without without Android. Okay. So anyway, by using the very human-like robot, we can touch to the philosophical questions again. So that is the meaning of robotics. Always we have a chance to deeply think about what human is. I really think that is the meaning of a technology development. Okay, let me show you the another, the example of Android. This is also the very practical solutions with the Android. So now we are using the Android in the show windows. So original show windows, we used to use very human-like mannequins, So now we can use the more human-like, emotional, the Android, right? And the Android, well, we have carefully implemented human emotional states, and well, the function of the facial expressions, function to recognize facial expressions and emotional states. And when the Android they could have eye contact with the visitors, Android, the smile like that, and then almost all people they smile back to this Android smiling face. Right. And idol singers. And this was also very famous in Hong Kong. We did 2 weeks the exhibition in Hong Kong, and Android was singing songs, and she was also very, very famous. Again, the philosophical question is, what is beauty, right? So she was so popular in Hong Kong and Japan, and probably the Android is more beautiful than the human idol, the idol singers. The reason is, well, the appearance, of course, it's perfect, and and she never get tired, always smiling, right? And she never go to the toilet, right? So, and Android can be ideal, the idol singers, and we can have theaters with Android, and Android can represent the humanities, and sometimes the Android is much better than the human actor and actress. So everybody, well, all audience said they could feel the human-like heart by watching her play, right? So again, what are the hearts and the minds? So people can feel the human-like heart by watching the Android in the theaters or an Android in the movies. But that computer program for controlling Android is very simple, right? So we need to think about what is the heart and the mind again. Okay, move on to the next example, the Android working instead of humans. Okay, so this is not permanent, the field test, permanent the system. This is a kind of a temporal, the challenge exhibitions, but the Android was selling a lot of clothes in the real department stores, right? And actually, Android was much better than the human shopkeepers, right? The human could, people bought a lot of clothes from the Android. The Android record was much better than the human shopkeepers. So this is the possibilities. And well, I'm going to skip the detail of this system, but in this system, we are not using the voice recognition. We are using a touch panel conversation systems, but it also works very well. So anyway, what I want to say here is, it is not so difficult to replace the human shopkeepers with the Android. And the TV host. So 2 years ago, we were running the TV program with Android. He is a transgender, right? And he is the most famous TV host in Japan, and we have created his Android. And the 3 of us were running the TV program, and we did a lot of experiments. What happens if we have Android in our life? Okay. Now we are preparing the new TV programs. Probably we're going to use the Android as newscasters, right? And we're going to have a real TV, Android TV program. After 10 years, what happens? So, as I said, I have developed the teleoperated Android first, right? Teleoperated Android is also very convenient, the really autonomous Android, so we need to improve the technology more and more. But for the teleoperations, I think it's almost ready. I think if we want, we can use the teleoperated Android in a practical the situations. So, and our technology is to generate the Android movement based by analyzing the operator's voice. So operator is just watching a monitor and talking, and the computer generate Android lip movement and head movement. This is a very, very simple and easy teleoperation system. Therefore, so I can give a talk and I can give a lectures by using this Android bodies. I don't need to go to the university anymore, or I don't need to come to the conference if I want, right? And the more important things is that we can accept this Android body as our own bodies. Okay, if someone touched to the Android, actually operator can have a very strong virtual feeling to be touched. Okay, so by controlling, operating the Android, operator can accept the Android body as his or her own bodies. And so now that this is the most advanced research is to control the Android by using a brain-machine interface. Okay, so the operator is just thinking and Android is moving, right? And then the operator can accept the Android body as his or her own bodies. So I think this is a important technology for the handicapped people who cannot move the bodies. Okay. So last topic is what's happened after 20 years. Of course, we want to have autonomous conversational Android, right? So this is our final goal in my project. So how we can have a conversational Android, autonomous conversational Android, that is to replace the operator with the computers. There are two approaches. One is the big data approach. The other is a story-based approach. Big data approach is to use a chatbot developed by, for example, the Microsoft or the Googles, right? And if we combine the chatbot and Android, we can have a very human-like autonomous Android. The another approach is a story-based approach. So if we limit the topics, so we can have a more deeper conversations. Okay. So the chatbot can cover any kind of topics, but we cannot have a deeper conversations. But by limiting the topics, we can have a more deeper conversation.
What is
so
your name?
Let me show you the example. So last year we have exhibited
Hiroshi Ishiguro. Your name?
My name is
the
Courtney
Android
Ray. Where
in
are
the
you
South by
from?
Southwest. South by Southwest is the
Aha.
biggest
I'm
interactive
from
media
Osaka,
festival
Japan.
in the United States.
Where is your birthplace?
So,
I was born in Texas.
So chatbot itself is not so
Right.
human-like, but if
Did
we
you know
combine
there are
very human-like
actually
robot,
two time
facial
zones in
expression
Texas?
and the body movement,
I did
and
not.
then the chatbot becomes
I
very
see.
human-like.
El
Right? So we
Paso
can
and
enjoy
Hotspur
the
are the
conversation
only
very much.
counties in
But
Mountain
unfortunately,
Time.
the conversation is
Isn't
not
that
so deep,
annoying?
right?
That's so
Okay?
annoying.
And the Android always suddenly
Right.
changes the
Which time
topics.
zones are you?
So, but this is much better than the normal chatbot. And if we choose the medias, right? So actually, that kind of a chatbot approach can be very practical. In Japan, we have Nico Nico Doga. It's internet TVs, but the difference with the normal TV is the user can send the questions. User can send a text message to to the actor and actress on the TVs, and then the actor and actress can answer the questions. So the good thing is always Android can have more than 10 questions, and Android can choose the best questions to answer, right? Therefore, and this is a very easy system for the Android. I mean, Android can easily answer the questions because Android can choose the easy questions. Okay? We have trained, we have gathered the conversation patterns in the 1 month, and we have gathered the 4,000 conversational patterns. Then Android became fully autonomous. So this system is running right now. Okay? And actually, 30,000 people are watching this Android TVs every day. So this year, we went to the South by Southwest again, and we have improved our conversational system more. We just limited the topics, right? So now, the robot, these robots are talking about the sushi and ramen, which is better, right? We have developed a perfect knowledge about the sushi and the ramen. Okay, it's a big database, right? But the robot can talk about the sushi and ramen more than 1 hour. Okay. And then, the human can join to that discussion. Okay. But actually, human cannot talk the sushi and ramen 1 hour, right? So we don't have that kind of knowledge. Right? Always, the Android can answer to the questions given by humans and continue the discussions. Right? So we have developed this system with NTT. NTT is the biggest telecom company in Japan. Okay? This is more deeper discussions.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's move on to next topic. We're going to look at the difference between humans and robots.
So these robots are talking about the difference between a human and robots,
humans
right?
and robots
so this, we have developed the big database.
What do you think is different?
For discussing about the human, the difference, the human robots, and by using that database, these robots are talking. Basically, that topic is not so easy, quite philosophical, right?
I think humans
therefore,
and
they
robots are
always,
physically
the
very
robot,
different.
they can take the initiative for the discussions. Okay. So I think I need to stop my presentation soon. But before stopping my presentations, I want to show you the most advanced technologies. So, this is the most, I think, advanced, the Android in the world. So we are implementing the desire and intention behaviors for the Android. And then, well, okay, well, usually we just focus on the behavior network, but what we are doing in my laboratories recently is we are implementing a design and intentions. Okay, then so this is the network of behaviors, right? So by using this editors and interaction composers, we can develop the very complicated Android behaviors. So this is a fully autonomous system. Okay, we are using the best technology for the voice synthesizations and the best technology for the voice recognition. And she has the emotion. She wanted to be well recognized. Okay, and she is the receptionist of our laboratories and talking with the visitors. And she is asking how do you think of my closet or something like that, right? So, so if we combine the best voice recognition system and the voice speech synthesis system and behavior recognition and Android technologies, we can have this, the very human-like Android. She is also quite emotional. Well, this is the English version.
May I ask your name?
I think that you can enjoy this conversation.
Ignacio, is that right?
Yes.
It's nice to meet you, Ignacio. So, what country are you from?
I'm from Canada.
Wow, Canada's quite far away. It's pretty cold there, eh? Anyway, as you probably already know, I'm from Japan, much like many other advanced androids and robots. My name is Erica. Would you like to hear a little about me?
What do you do in your spare time?
I guess the closest thing I have to a hobby is sitting here and ruminating on the meaning of my existence. What about you, Ignacio? What do you like to do for fun?
I like to play sports.
Wow, it must be nice to be able to play sports.
Okay.
You see, I unfortunately cannot play
So I
any
think
sports,
if you
since I
access to
cannot
the
run or move my
YouTube,
arms.
so you can download the many
That said,
many
if I
videos
could play
about
chess, I
our
bet I could
Android.
beat
And
you.
Android is talking with the
So-
people in many ways. Okay. So anyway, by using these robot technologies, this interactive robot technologies and very human-like Android technologies, I think we're going to have a robot society in the very near future. But the meaning of a robot society is that we're going to have chances to deeply think about the human itself, right? So that is the meaning of a technology development and the meaning of robot development. Thank you very much.